Warren DeWitt, and I'm one of the business development managers with Mohawk. And today I want to go over some of the features and benefits of SmartStrand and why it is superior to any other carpet on the market. One of the first things I want to talk about is where I get my carpets. What I do is I buy pieces of carpet from a local retailer and I cut them up into samples, and those are the samples that we use for our testing. What I have is a SmartStrand, a Shaw Anso, Dreamweaver nylon, and a Dreamweaver polyester. And the reason I use these three companies is they are the top three companies in the world right now. In the flooring industry, Mohawk is number one, Shaw is number two, and Dreamweaver just bought out Beaulieu, and they are number three. So basically what we're saying is we're comparing apples to apples. Basically Mohawk's best carpet against Shaw's best carpet against Dreamweaver's best carpet. And so with that, I want to start with my first demo. And what I have is some imitation pet urine, basically food coloring, water, and a little vinegar for acidity. And I'm going to put some on the SmartStrand. I'm going to put some on the Anso. I'm going to put some on the Dreamweaver nylon, and this is the Dreamweaver polyester. Then I'm going to take those exact same four pieces of carpet, and I have a tank of wine here, and we're going to float them in wine. And the reason we use wine is one of the most acidic things, and it'll break down any topically applied protection. So I'm going to take the SmartStrand, and we're going to float that in wine. And I got the Shaw Anso, got the Dreamweaver nylon, and I have the Dreamweaver polyester. We're going to let those in there for now. We're going to come back to those. But one of the things I want to talk about is the box stores. They say about 56% of Americans shop the box stores for their flooring. And what we want to do is educate our retailers so that you can go back to the customer and explain why certain carpets are better for certain situations. The box stores, they advertise lowest price, best warranty, brand, cheap labor, free labor, but they don't really educate their sales associates on what's the best application for the customer, and that's what we rely on you as a retailer to do that. So one of the things I give you as a retailer is we call this a wear demo, and it's basically the same four pieces of carpet that we test here, and we ask you to put it in your highest traffic area and vacuum it just like you would a normal household carpet. And basically by looking at it, foot traffic and time is going to tell you what wear is. We give you a control piece, and it's basically the same four pieces that are brand new, and you can set it next to them and say this is what wear look like after 6 months, 9 months, a year, and you can just do your own comparison. Because what happens is wear, if people do their research and they say this is a nylon carpet, and they say if they've done their research, they say nylon's a very good wearing carpet. But if you lift it up on the back of the sample, it'll say a 25-year abrasive wear warranty. Well, if you look in the warranty section of carpet, basically abrasive wear means loss of fiber, and it means 10% loss of fiber. And now with bulk continuous filament, you're not going to lose 10% of your fiber. So this carpet could be flat as a pancake in a year, but it doesn't mean you have a wear warranty. And so that's what we want to educate you as the retailer and stuff. You can that way you can turn around and educate your consumer when they're buying carpet on what's best for them. Next I want to talk about dyeing SmartStrand. Basically we say it's almost impossible to stain SmartStrand, and here's the reason why. When dyeing SmartStrand, we found out in order to put color into it, we have to have the temperature in the upper 300s, lower 400s, just above melting point, and that basically allows the fiber to swell open like a can of biscuits, and then it allows color to infuse into it. When we cool it back off, it basically closes up like a closed cell again, and that is the reason why the SmartStrand is so color fast. You're never going to get that temperature above in the upper 300s or lower 400s to ever take the color back out of it. Even hot water extraction, hot coffee, that does not harm the carpet or inhibit the wear or anything at all. Next, we're going to talk about the kink, twist, and curl in the carpet. Basically, all of the kink is built into the carpet in the molecular background also. So when we talk about professionally cleaning your carpets with a professional hot water extraction or steam clean, basically we do that. It was set by the CRI, Carpet Rug Institute, to help get your carpets clean. And it takes 165-degree minimum to solidify oil to get it out of your carpet. Well, with SmartStrand also, the kink and twist is put in there at a high heat. And so by having it professionally hot water extraction or steam clean, it actually puts the twist and curl back in the carpet again. And the easiest way to explain it is, I think of women with curly hair, and they use a straightener to straighten their hair, and what happens when you go outside on a hot, humid day? It goes back to curly. Well, that's exactly what SmartStrand is designed to do. So, and that's another reason why the regular rug doctors and your household carpet cleaners are not warranted to have your carpets cleaned, and it's not by a professional, is because typically they're using tap water out of their sink, and the tap water, if it's hot, it's maybe 105, 110 degrees, and that's not hot enough to solidify oil to get out of carpet. And therefore, that's the reason why you have to have a professional do it. It's usually about 200 degrees in the tank, or 210, and it's about 165, 170 at the wand, and that's exactly what it takes to solidify oil to get it out of your carpet. Making SmartStrand super soft. Well, SmartStrand is the only fiber, the softer we make it, it actually gets more durable. And the reason it is because everything is built into the fiber, and the twist, the curl, the anti-static is all built in the fiber. So the more we pack into there, it's like putting more shock absorbers on your car, or I explain it, it's like your higher end beds basically have more coils in it, and it's for surface area. And the same thing with SmartStrand. It's a luxury feel, just like your luxury beds. They have more coils. It helps even out the surface pressure. SmartStrand carpet does the exact same thing. And to explain how we got SmartStrand carpet soft is basically we never change, we call this a bundle of yarn. And we never change the bundle of yarn. The glass represents the bundle. And so our first round of soft carpets was called SmartStrand Ultra. And you can see there's a lot of air in between the fibers. Well, we packed about 170 fibers in a bundle. But there was the denier of the fiber was larger, and there was more air in between, which helped vacuuming and that type of thing. It allowed airflow, so your vacuums, any one of your vacuums were working. Well, then we went to SmartStrand Silk, and we kept the same size bundle, but what we did is we made the denier of the yarn smaller. And so it's a finer denier. We packed about 550 fibers or filaments per bundle, and you can see the air is much smaller now, which kind of inhibits or prevents the airflow in your vacuum, and your vacuum with soft carpet wants to dive in, the soft fibers pull up, it creates a vacuum around the head, and thus you need basically an adjustable head, or you need adjustable airflow so you can keep the airflow going. Because everybody knows if you have airflow, you have suction. If you don't have airflow, you are not going to have any suction. Then we went to SmartStrand Silk Reserve. Bundle stayed the same, but basically now we pack around 1,100 fibers per bundle, and you can see the air is basically gone just because we make it super soft. The denier is smaller, and it doesn't allow the airflow to go between the fibers of the carpet. So that's why SmartStrand, the softer we make it, it actually is more durable. This is basically the molecular background of the fibers. This is a polyester. Basically, polyester starts out like a pencil, and once it abrades, polyester has no memory, it's not going to come back. Your first round of nylons had a small kink into it, and it was pretty resilient, but then your nylon 6 and 6/6, basically they made it more like a coil-like attribute. found out it was very resilient, but the downfall to nylons is everything is topically applied. Then DuPont, when they invented Triexta, they have the color fastness. We talked about the color being built into the fiber. Now the kink, twist, and curl is built into the fiber also. And so you basically get the best of both worlds, the resiliency and the color fastness of a polyester. So not all carpets are created equal. Basically, I'm going to start out talking about Mohawk's polyesters. Mohawk has always recycled pop bottles, water bottles, anything that you drank out of. If it was recycled, it was sent back. Mohawk recycles about 4 out of 5 of every drinkware that gets recycled. And if you remember years ago, all the pop bottles and water bottles, if you left it in your car on a hot summer day, they would say maybe don't drink it. It might release some BPH gases, maybe not make you feel so well, or it might taste a little funny. Well, since then the EPA stepped in and said all drinkware, pop bottles, Gatorade bottles, water bottles, has to be pharmaceutical grade, grade 1 plastic. And so if you look at any of your water bottles and stuff now that you drink out of, it'll have a little recycle sign, it'll have a number 1 in it. And what that is, it's the highest tensile strength plastic you can get. And if you remember your old bottles, just like this one, this is a lower grade. If I would put a kink in it, you would have that white line. That's when polyester, when it abrades, it basically gets that white line and you're never going to get it back. With your new plastics, basically when I do this, you can see we don't get the white lines anymore. It's basically because we have the highest tensile strength plastic you can get. So Mohawk, when they were recycling plastic before, now we naturally stepped into grade 1 pharmaceutical grade plastic, which is the same grade as like your Tupperwares. It can be put in the microwave, it can be put in the freezer. It doesn't hurt the polyester or hurt the plastic at all. Mohawk also, the other thing they do on any of their carpets is they scour them. And we run it through a scouring bath through our facilities, and any carpet that goes through there does get scoured. And Mohawk claims to get about 95 to 97% of the spin finish, the oils, off of the yarn. And I'm putting a piece of SmartStrand in here, and we can use our polys, nylons, because any of our carpets go through our scouring process. When we shake this up, you can see how clear the water is yet. And basically the bubbles from me shaking it up have gone away, but the water is very clear. Our competitors, Dreamweaver, a lot of your smaller mills, the reason they can sell stuff to you for less money is because they're saving in the process of scouring the yarn. And so one of the ways we can prove that is we'll take a piece of Dreamweaver carpet, we're going to put it in fresh water. I'm going to take the exact same, we're going to shake this up. You can see how foamy it is and how dirty the water is. That is the spin finish that is left on the yarns. So what happens when somebody buys brand new carpet and it has spin finish left on it, what's going to happen is it's going to get dingy, dirty, ugly even faster. Oil attracts more oil. When you start out with oils in your carpet, it's going to get matted very fast. And so, and that is the reason why, with all of that spin finish left on this polyester, is basically why this thing sinks like the Titanic. So you can see it just went right to the bottom earlier when we put it in there. And to show you how absorbent a non-scoured polyester is, if I just touch the side of it to this puddle, I can soak up the whole puddle just without moving the yarn. So that is the reason why smaller companies can sell polyesters for less money, but you're not getting the quality and a clean yarn like you will with Mohawk. Mohawk starts out clean, it stays clean. You're getting the highest tensile strength plastic you can get is the reason it costs a little bit more. So next we want to talk about nylon. Nylon is made with 100% petroleum, and so I think of it like the balloon. A balloon, when you rub it on your head and you stick it to the ceiling, you're creating friction. When it falls to the floor, everything sticks to that balloon. And basically the same thing happens to a nylon before you treat it with an anti-static and anti-soil. Because people think that the anti-static and anti-soil is put in a nylon to help you from shocking, rubbing your feet on the floor and shocking the dog, or getting a shock when you flip on the light switch. But the anti-static is put on there so it releases more dust, dirt, and dander out of your carpet when you're vacuuming. Well, since it's made with 100% petroleum, the government does put a regulation on nylon saying that you have to have it treated with an anti-static or an anti-soil treatment for FHA purposes. Well, if you look here, you can see those white tips on Dreamweaver's nylon. That is how much treatment they are putting on their nylon. You can see they're maybe getting 1%, 2% at most, but otherwise the rest of the carpet is basically saturated. And they get by with that for FHA purposes. To show you how a non-scoured nylon even is for soaking up spills, I can touch the tips, and their tips are the only part of the carpet that is treated. So I'm going to touch the side of it. You can see I can do the exact same thing as their polyester did. It'll pull up the whole puddle, just soaking it through the side of the carpet. So when we talk about other companies that have well-treated nylons, Mohawk does a fantastic job putting a Scotchgard treatment. They encapsulate the fiber. It is very good. This is Shaw's Ansel. They do a pretty good job of treating theirs also. But as you can see, got the wine running off. I'm going to take a paper towel. I'm going to dab it on here. We're going to soak it up. But as you can see, it's turning pink from the wine. And basically what that is that is the amount of topically applied protection just from us soaking it in the wine that it's eaten off already. So it's been in here maybe 15 minutes or so that's been soaking in there. But what that simulates is if you have a child that spills, if you have a pet that has an accident on the carpet, the longer it sits on there, anything that's acidic will eat through the topically applied protection on a nylon carpet. Nylon carpet is very resilient. It's just not as easy to clean, and everything is topically applied, and basically nylon is 100% static. So Triexta. So DuPont basically invented about every carpet out there, and when they invented Triexta, they wanted a carpet that was going to be bulletproof, that everything was built into it. It was going to be anti-static, anti-soil. It had to meet the toughest stringent criteria for carpet, and that's how they came up with Triexta. Basically, we're going to take the same carpet that was floating in the wine, and you can see it's already running off. I'm going to take a paper towel, do the same thing as what we did, and you can see how easy that was to clean versus the nylon. And the reason is, when we talked about the color being built in, the anti-static is built into the molecular background of the fiber. The anti-soil, it will never wash off, never wear off. Triexta naturally has its anti-static, it's built into the fiber. So that's the reason why it will resist any acid stains, anything that's acidic basically will not soak into the fiber, because there is no open cells in a SmartStrand fiber. Nylon naturally has 5% open dye sites. SmartStrand has 0. That's the reason why we can, claim that we're not going to stain SmartStrand. The SmartStrand All Pet Warranty. It's the only carpet that has an all pet warranty. We cover all pets, all accidents, all the time. As you can see on our screen, we show guinea pigs, rabbits, iguanas, dogs, cats, anything that you have domesticated in your house, we will cover 100%. We call it a pet bumper to bumper warranty, nose to tail, even blood. So if you have a cat and you have a bird also, and the cat eats the bird and it gets blood on the floor, you are covered 100%. So it doesn't matter what your pet does on our floor, we will cover that 100%, no questions asked. Only carpet that has that. Our competitors, we talk about Lowe's. Lowe's is big with Stainmaster. Home Depot, they're really big with Dreamweaver's carpet. And if you look at their warranties, they're written by the exact same lawyer, and they are word for word the same. And they have a pet warranty, but it has a lot of exclusions in it. They have a urine warranty, and it covers domestic dogs and cats only. And it's because domestic dogs and cats have the lowest acidic urine out of any animal. And basically, they cover accidents, not abuse. So when we talk about what's an accident and what's abuse, if we flip this over, you can see how fast our imitation urine soaked into the back of the carpet. Basically, this is what they're going to look for. They're going to pull this carpet up. If you say you have a warranty issue with an animal, they're going to flip this up. And you know as well as I do, when this dries, you start to get those rings on the back. And what's an animal's natural instinct is to go back to the same spot over and over again. Well, if you see one ring, that's an accident. But if you start getting multiple rings when it dries, that is abuse. They cover accidents, not abuse. Also, when you get into feces or vomit, then the exclusions get even larger because a lot of vomit can be very acidic and can actually take color out, and that's discoloration, that's not a stain. So they have a pet warranty, but it's got a lot of exclusions in it, so be sure if you're selling somebody carpet and they have pets in the house, SmartStrand is the only carpet that you want to go to that has no exclusions on it whatsoever, covers all pets, all accidents, all the time. So NanoLock, I have a small TED Talks video that explains basically how NanoLock works. This isn't the exact NanoLock that we put on our carpet, but this basically shows how NanoLock works in general.
I'm here to show you how something you can't see can be so much fun to look at. You're about to experience a new, available, and exciting technology that's going to make us rethink how we waterproof our lives. What I have here is a cinder block that we've coated half with a nanotechnology spray that can be applied to almost any material. It's called Ultra Everdry. And when you apply it to any material, it turns into a super hydrophobic shield. So this is a cinder block, uncoated, and you can see that it's porous, it absorbs water. Not anymore. Porous, non-porous. So what's super hydrophobic? Super hydrophobic is how we measure a drop of water on a surface. The rounder it is, the more hydrophobic it is. And if it's really round, it's super hydrophobic. A freshly waxed car, the water molecules slump to about 90 degrees. Windshield coating is going to give you about 110 degrees. But what you're seeing here is 160 to 175 degrees, and anything over 150 is super hydrophobic. So as part of the demonstration, what I have is a pair of gloves, and we've coated one of the gloves with the nanotechnology coating. And let's see if you can tell which one, and I'll give you a hint. Did you guess the one that was dry? When you have a nanotechnology and nanoscience, what's occurred is that we're able to now look at atoms and molecules and actually control them for great benefits. And we're talking really small here. The way you measure nanotechnology is in nanometers, and 1 nanometer is a billionth of a meter. And to put some scale to that, if you had a nanoparticle that was 1 nanometer thick, and you put it side by side, and you had 50,000 of them, you'd be the width of a human hair.